Then I took a smidge and applied it down there.
This one's wife. Investigate them. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. In my brilliant video, Give the Narcissist Enough Rope, I provide you with the techniques that you can utilize to ensure that you get a result against the narcissist. Invariably, because of the narcissist's sense of entitlement, lack of accountability, absence of boundary recognition, manipulative behaviors, the need to assert control and nullify threats to control, the narcissist behaves in such a way whereby they will create evidence that can be used against the narcissist. Often people fail to do so because they're overwhelmed. They don't understand what they're dealing with. They're often anxious and frightened by what is going on. But other than your more highly evolved, skilled, greater narcissists and the ultra, most narcissists leave behind a trail, and that means that it can be used against them. A trail of their poor deeds, a trail of misbehavior, a trail of illegality and criminality, which means that there is invariably the evidence which can be utilized against them. This one's wife is not a higher evolved narcissist. She's mid-range. And as I have repeatedly reported to you, she will engage in a behavior with a collateral consequence which causes a problem for her and comes to bite her on the backside further down the line. Plus, the narcissist never learns from their mistakes, and certainly not where they're mid-range. This means that this one's wife will have engaged in behaviors, for instance, the ostracization of her family, the smearing of the royal family, the dropping of certain friends, and that has had collateral consequences. It has caused people to see her in a particular light. It has caused people to realize that she's not likable. Her lies have eventually been uncovered. Her revisions of history have been laid bare. But there are also question marks in relation to financial activity by this one's wife, and this is something which has resulted in an organization called Huriwa seeking a probe into Prince Harry and this one's wife's Nigeria visit. This has been picked up by worldsatellite.com that reports the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, Huriwa, has urged for a comprehensive investigation into the recent visit of Prince Harry and this one's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, to Nigeria. The association expressed concerns regarding the funding of the visit, questioning whether it was accounted for in any existing budget allocation and demanding transparency, covering who financed the trip. Now, pausing there, of course, this one's wife, as a narcissist, expects other people to pay the way for her. Her money is her money, your money is her money. She wants the freebies. Her attitude in that regard was shown when she wanted to keep gifts that were sent to her when she was a working royal, which was contrary to protocol, that she stated in Australia in 2018, "I can't believe I'm not being paid for this." She, coming from the background she did, has suddenly found herself elevated into wealth. And this is a residual benefit of her narcissism. She wants it. She wants to keep it. And one way of remaining wealthy is to get other people to pay for you. And therefore, it wouldn't be a surprise to learn that a country that can ill afford it had been forced or invited to shell out in relation to this one's wife in respect to her travel, perhaps wardrobe, accommodation, security, etc. Huriwa also condemns what it called extravagant hosting of wives of African presidents in Abuja, Nigeria, at a time when millions of Nigerians are confronting the cost of living crisis and adverse economic crunch, with over 133 million Nigerian households in multidimensional poverty and over 18 million Nigerian children who are out of school. These frivolous expenditures of scarce public funds are despicable and condemnable. Naturally, this one's wife, despite the facade management of caring, doesn't give a rat's ass. In a statement released, signed by the National Coordinator, Comrade Emmanuel Onwubuko, Huriwa conveyed bewilderment over the official protocols extended to the royal couple during their visit, especially in light of the British government's explicit disassociation from the trip. Now, this one's wife, of course, carried on like it was a royal visit and didn't give a stuff what the British High Commissioner had said. But however, the fact that it was deemed to be a private visit and nothing to do with the British government throws into stark relief the fact that why should Nigeria be paying for a private visit? The visit, purportedly initiated at the invitation of Nigeria's Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, has raised questions about its funding source and official endorsement, particularly as it was clarified by British High Commissioner Dr. Richard Montgomery that the visit was private and not affiliated with the British government. Despite this clarification, Prince Harry and this one's wife were accorded significant diplomatic courtesies, i.e. they shouldn't have received them, raising questions about the involvement of Nigerian government departments and the expenditure of public funds for a private engagement, Huriwa lamented. Huriwa emphasised the imperative for accountability and transparency in public expenditure, especially given Nigeria's ongoing socio-economic challenges, including protests by detained soldiers over poor living conditions and inadequate facilities. Thus, the soldiers are told, go and guard these two useless wazzocks, but hey, you're not getting paid and you've got poor living conditions. The association questioned whether the financing of the royal couple's visit was included in any existing government budget, and if so, which department allocated funds for this purpose. Additionally, Huriwa underscored the absence of reciprocity in diplomatic engagements, noting that while Nigeria hosted the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, there is no historical precedent of Nigerian royalty being hosted by European nations. According to the premier civil rights advocacy group, this raises concerns about the allocation of public funds for a visit that may not align with diplomatic norms and priorities. Quoting extensively from a British tabloid, Mail Online News, which detailed the luxurious accommodations and extensive itinerary of Prince Harry and this one's wife during their visit, Huriwa further highlighted the need for transparency regarding the financial implications of their stay, including the costs of security arrangements and accommodations at the Fraser Suites in Abuja. Is it correct to say that the Defence Headquarters financed the visit since they are widely quoted as the host? We in Huriwa question the prioritisation of such alleged expenditures if it is verified that the Defence Headquarters funded the trip, and this is distressing because of the pervasive pressing issues such as the welfare of wounded soldiers and ongoing security challenges. As a pro-democracy, non-governmental and not-for-profit organisation, we call for accountability measures to ensure that resources are allocated judiciously to address urgent national priorities. Why would the Defence Headquarters allocate funds for a private visit if, as a host, it is confirmed that the Defence Headquarters financed the elaborately expensive trip while detained soldiers protest against inadequate feeding conditions and detention facility standards? What efforts has the Nigerian Defence Headquarters made to support the hundreds of soldiers wounded and incapacitated by terrorists while defending our nation? This underscores the significance of initiatives like the Invictus Games, which highlights the importance of rehabilitation for wounded war veterans. Huriwa is demanding full disclosures on the part of key government officials, including the Chief of Defence Staff, regarding the status of the financing of the private visit. The disturbing protest staged by detained Nigerian army personnel at the Sokoto barracks highlights grave concerns over the conditions within military detention facilities. In conclusion, Huriwa reiterated the importance of transparency and accountability in government expenditures and diplomatic engagements. The association urged relevant authorities to conduct a thorough probe into the financing and decision-making processes surrounding Prince Harry and this one's wife's visit to Nigeria, with a focus on ensuring that public funds are utilised in the best interests of the Nigerian people. Well, What a surprise. This one's wife and Harry go over, funded by the defence headquarters. They don't think to check, is this appropriate? They don't think to check, is this money that could be better spent elsewhere? After all, we are bananatarians. Of course not, because it's all about this one's wife. Look at me. Make sure that I'm staying in this accommodation. Make sure I'm taken here. Make sure everybody gets to see me. Look at me. And fuck you and your country and your own problems, because I'm all that matters. Once again, an organisation, a person gets involved with this one's wife, and there's a clusterfuck surrounding it. And here, it's a country's Defence Department that finds itself being questioned about how it's funded the visit of the two losers. Involve this one's wife, you're only going to invite problems. Such is a way of involving yourself with this mid-range narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.